shit. Oh shit, what's going on, chat? Let me turn that down so I can actually hear myself. Hi. Hello, Chatamaran. Welcome back to another Therapy Thursday. I am the Kilted Pork, and we have our guest brain that we haven't given a name to yet. How about Throbulator? Does that work? Gives me a headache. I don't know, I'm delusional today. Welcome for anybody who's unaware of what Therapy Thursday is, for those watching live or on YouTube. Every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, I get together on here with my sister Asteria, who's a professional licensed therapist, and we encourage people to come into the chat stream here, and if you have any mental health questions, post them in chat, and then we can basically go over it. Maybe it'll help you feel better, or help you understand what you're feeling or what's going on with someone you know, yourself, you know, whatever. It's a way for us to offer support in hard times, especially for those who have no resources themselves. So yeah, we encourage people to open up here. You know, if you feel like, oh, I don't want people to know my feelings and problems, well, that's what screen names are for. You can always use a fake screen name and come in here under a different name. And then that's how it works. So, that being said, I see that Asteria and Darth Jammin are going at it in chat, so I know that they know what's going on. Doesn't mean I still can't scare Asteria because there is a delay on the thing. Bah! So, let's see if she knows I'm here.
How can anyone miss you?
How can anybody miss me? Oh, and then Michaela says, no, you. Oh, jeez. You. There's three of you just going at it in chat, like telling each other to shush.
Yeah, shush.
You
well,
all
it's
shush.
not my fault. The eldest started it.
The eldest came in, then the professional therapist antagonized it, then Michaela Lemon comes in, continues pushing it. And now Darth Jammin and Michaela are going at it. Welcome, Michaela. I hope you're having a wonderful day.
Oh man, it's just gonna keep on keeping on.
Bo before me.
Bo.
I know it says bow, but I'm gonna say Bo.
Bo.
Michaela, I'm just gonna let you know you're fighting a losing battle.
If Al gets in here, dang.
I know, yeah, if Al gets in here. And then we got a new follower that came in about 8 hours ago, Mere Immortal. I would like to thank them, even though I know they're probably not here right now, but I did talk to them earlier during TechSmith stream. They were having a bad birthday yesterday, and they were bummed out, so I tried to help them feel better, and then they were like, oh, thank you, and then they gave me a gift sub, and it was very nice of them.
That's nice.
And then I came in here, I noticed that they followed, so yay!
Michaela says, honestly, I don't care if I am. That's the spirit. Anyway.
No, just keep it going, hey. Then don't quit. Keep each other entertained.
Hey everybody. It's us. We're here.
Did you like my name for the brain? Throbulator?
The Throbulator? Sir. That could go so many ways.
No, I got that name from that was on Invader Zim. And he was like, I come from he has like, it's like this guy, he's got like this huge like head that's all like pulsing with veins, and it's like constantly got a headache, and he's like, my name is Throbulator. I was just like, that's where that came from.
Ah, God, that's good stuff right there. Well, hold on, before we get too carried away, let me do my thing.
Michaela says hi.
Oh, hi, Michaela. Nice to see you again. Welcome back to the stream. And welcome everybody to the stream that is here. For anyone that is joining us, who has been here, who is new here, welcome to Therapy Thursdays. Kilted probably gave a spiel of what this is all about, but I'm going to give it again as to the relevance as to why I'm here. So my name is Asteria, and here I am a marriage and family therapist that works in the state of California. That is important. As a marriage and family therapist, specifically the work I do is I do work surrounding trauma, personality disorders, dissociative disorders, depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, and substance use background, and addiction. What I like to do here with Kilted is that we use this space to talk about mental health questions, topics, kind of things that relative and related to mental health, to interpersonal relationships, in ways that we can support you. I'm very aware that mental health resources are expensive, and so for a lot of people, you may not be able to receive these types of resources. So this is the best way I feel that we could come to you and supporting you where you're at, answering questions however we can, supporting however we can. There's just a few guidelines and ground rules we want to make very clear here. We very much talk about and can talk about the foundations and the surface level, a lot of diagnoses, about a lot of different mental health topics. Just because I have experience and trainings in some backgrounds doesn't mean I have for all. So there's just going to be times I just don't know how to answer your questions, and it just is what it is. Because we diagnosing or discussing diagnoses is welcome here. Feel free to ask questions and so forth. However, we do not do diagnosing here, as that's just unethical. I could only do that with my specific clients. So if you think that your mom is narcissistic or is a narcissist, Kilted.
She probably is.
Yay!
Yay!
Because I also am a mandated reporter to my clients and to those associated with them. And because I have, especially with the state of California, we have certain protected classes and groups of people, including anyone that is under the age of 18, anyone that is a legally identified dependent, such as of those under conservatorship and related, for medical necessity, and anyone that is an elder that is 65 and older. There are just things that we don't discuss here out of the sense of ethics. So although we do talk about topics such as suicide here, I will not be discussing suicide with anyone that is under the age of 18, just because that just doesn't feel right to me. So that's my personal boundary, and I will not be challenging it. So feel free to jump into the chat about questions, comments, concerns related to mental health. We're just going to keep on chatting here about various things. And once we see you jumping into the chat, we'll put a pause on what we're discussing, and give space for what you're bringing to the discussion tonight. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yes. Thank you. And Michaela says they're tired of this one mod on this one Roblox game.
Dude, I have some friends that, like, at first I was like, haha, about Roblox. But then I went into there because some of my friends that are just like, whatever, they showed me. And I was like, dude, why is everybody, first of all, why is it actually kind of hard? But two, why is everyone punking on each other in here?
Never played it.
It's totally okay. It's like free, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, and it's like an open world kind of game with like different worlds that you can like go and do. And it's just so interesting because it's like I'm laughing because it's like, oh yeah, kids are in here, but it is not just kids in there.
Our adults just in there wrecking kids.
They're just wild and causing all of the chaos. I'm not gonna call out exactly which one of my friends, but one of my friends does play, and they play in this like in this hospital like setting where they have like this role play-ish like hospital setup, and they're just fucking assholes to each other.
It's supposed to be a kids game.
It's so funny to me. So yeah, that's Roblox.
Also, my trees are sprouting. Well, that's good, I guess.
Yay, trees!
Sure. Unless you have, like, you know, you're trying to get rid of trees. I don't know.
Can I start off by being the old person who wants to say, I'm tired of how early it's been getting dark, and I am looking forward to sunlight later, or lasting a bit longer in the days.
Hold on. There are going to be bonsai trees. That's good. And then Jammin says golf. And then no. Okay. Anyway, so you're just now realizing it's starting to get dark earlier. No, we're past that. It's now coming back the other way.
It's not even about it getting darker earlier. I'm saying that it's coming up soon, where that light is going to be here longer, and that this time is coming to an end soon, and I'm very happy about that.
Thank God. I do not like the winter time. I don't like the whatever daylight savings crap we're in now. I don't like it. I like my long days. I like my warm days. Leave me alone. I'm like an old person. I want daytime and warm weather. So bleh.
Yeah. I used to like love when it got dark sooner, because it's like, oh yay, like chill and, you know, cooler and stuff like that. But I just downright have not been consistent in doing my walking.
Exactly.
Because I cannot get myself to go out, and for a multitude of reasons, whether it be it's like because by the time that it gets a certain time, like it's starting to get colder, it's that it gets too dark, and walking around typically by myself, I'm not the biggest fan of. I used to be like, oh, whatever, nothing can touch me when I'm younger, but now I'm like, no, I gained a prefrontal cortex, so I should probably not do that. At least because where I walk is not as well lit, so no. I'm just not for it. And I'm looking forward to the changes in the temperature. I do enjoy me a good springtime. As I've gotten older, I realize that spring is much more of my preferable time of year.
I would kind of agree with you on the springtime thing, but the way the weather's been over like the last decade, I feel like it doesn't get comfortable for me until summertime hits, and then when fall rolls around, it's too damn hot.
Yeah, what even is fall anymore?
I'm just like, I don't know. So like my temperature's like niceness is probably around May, like right before summer hits. May, June area. Maybe even July, because it gets all cloudy and crap around here around those times.
I think it's starting to just get
Starting to get what? You get distracted?
I got a message, that's why I had to I forgot my ringer still on. But I'm not barely noticing, but I've the shift of seasons where it's actually summer is getting into the August, September, October times.
Yeah.
Is absolutely wild to me.
It's bonkers.
It's just straight bonks. It's straight bonks. So in summary, I like when it's more summery.
Yeah. And summary when it's more summery.
Yeah. Outside of that though, how are you?
Things are things. Hold on, I just got to give this off the top of my head. Summer reminds me of something that somebody was saying today. They said rigid bridges, and I don't know why, but it sounded funny. You can't have loose bridges, you need rigid bridges. And I was like, all right, rigid bridges.
Rigid bridges. I wish that was somebody's name.
What's your name? My name is Rigid Ridges. God, that'd be a great name.
That should be like a drag queen name. And coming to the stage is Rigid Ridges.
We found Darth's alter ego. Rigid
Ridges. That's funny.
Just walk around with a freaking heart on all the time.
Oh, the places this bridge will take you. Anyway,
Jesus Christ. Okay. You're clapping out
How
your...
are you doing?
What?
Anyway, how are you doing?
Oh, alright. Yeah, things. Therapy starts tomorrow, so that's gonna be interesting.
Yay!
Yay! I'm scared, but alright.
Yay!
Now,
it's okay to be scared.
I don't know if you have a recommendation or advice. What am I supposed to do on the first, session? I feel like nothing's gonna get done.
Oh, that's a great question. First session is actually a lot more important than people consider, because they think, oh, I should just start jumping into it and everything like that, and my therapist should just start going to town. I don't agree.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, that's not how that works, and that shouldn't be. The first session is really important because the first session is where the therapist is setting themselves up to, first of all, tell you their informed consent, which is really important that you listen to and ask questions. So many times I've had clients who are like, when did you tell me that you're, this could challenge my HIPAA, or this could be a breach in my confidentiality? I'm like, they said that to you on day one, and they should tell you.
They sent me a piece of paper with all that crap in it.
That is also really important that you have that piece of paper. So it's like, hey, what is it that I could risk at breaching my confidentiality? This is it right here. So hearing that is always important. That's an opportunity to ask questions about here's the things that I'm coming to treatment for. I specifically would like to accomplish goals related to this. What are some ideas that you think that we can start off by getting that ball rolling, right?
Right.
That's really important because many a times, especially at the outpatient level of care, which is what Kilt is going to be working on for anyone that is jumping in right now, is that it's important to know that, because especially since you're going in through insurance, they have to commit to a certain they have to commit to accomplishing goals, because unless you're paying out of pocket, which is something I do with my therapist, you have to meet certain treatment goals in order for insurance to be like, yeah, okay, you're good to continue to get treatment, right? Now, a lot of the times, and very commonly, insurances don't give any pushback or have very little pushback when it comes to outpatient level of care, because it's the cheapest level of care.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to insurance coverage, they're a lot more critical when it comes to the higher the level of care. And in total, there is 5 levels of care, at least in the state of California, that I could speak on. And so you should be good to go there, but you definitely want to be mindful of what you're trying to aim to accomplish. So it's like, if you go in there, right, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm going in because my depression's really heavy, and then all of a sudden your therapist is like, well, I think that you should be working on your eating disorder, right? And first of all, if you didn't even know that you had an eating disorder, and then second of all, then that's not what you were set to work on with that, and you didn't consent to that treatment, that means that your clinician is
working for the insurance company.
Right. This is all for insurance. Yeah. Welcome to insurance. They're smoking a cigarette. It's like you're gonna be sad.
Welcome to Big Insurance. My name is Claire.
Why is their name always Claire? It's so true.
It's like, I'm not happy today. That's fantastic. Did I ever tell you about the time I got my foot stuck in a toaster? It's like, oh God.
I have a chronic bunion.
I tried melting it off in the toaster, but it got wedged in between a loaf of bread and a stick of butter. It's like, this is day one, huh? Okay,
Stick
go
of
on.
butter,
I got
you said.
distracted.
Damn man. So, yeah, these are things that you just like. This is the foundation of your work, so it's really important to kind of like say like, it's like the equivalence of like when you're about to get a haircut, and it's like you can't just sit there and then tell the hairstylist, yeah, do whatever.
Yeah, that was my plan.
It's more so like, hey, this is my idea. I would like your expertise on like where to go with this, but this is what I'm hoping to achieve, and what I would like some support in improving.
Right.
I would also encourage, for you specifically, if it were up to me, I would encourage if you talk to your therapist about giving you in between session homework, because a lot of times people think a lot of what goes on for recovery is what happens in sessions, but what actually happens is that after discussing and processing in session, what is also encouraged is getting skills so you can apply out of session, so that you could actually apply it to life, to see like the change in quality for yourself. So I'd definitely encourage, it's like, hey, are there things that you'd suggest I work on in between sessions?
Gotcha. All right, keep going. I'm gonna grab something out of my backpack.
Out of your backpack? Are you gonna get notes?
Yeah, I gotta find my backpack.
I'm just laughing because I'm seeing the chat just go to town and telling each other to shh. But you don't have to chat. We want to hear from you.
Hey.
So, hey, you're not in the chat.
I can be. I own chat. This is my channel.
I'm just gonna go in the chat like everyone.
Everyone shush. Take your
Oh
butt
my
cheeks
God.
and put them
Oh,
together.
no.
And shush them down. I got Pokemon cards in here. Anyway.
It's okay. I have magic cards in my bag. My very professional, like, therapist bag. I was just like looking for a pen and I pull it out and I'm like, Soul Ring. Anyway.
Yeah, I have an Onyx and a like Typhlosion I use as a bookmark.
That's good stuff right there.
One's a foil too, so I didn't really piss off people. Hey,
Man.
Michaela, I see that. Tell me to shush.
You could tell me to shush.
I'm
won't
keeping an eye on
listen,
you,
but
chat.
You can tell me.
I won't listen, but you can say all the words in the world.
It's like, ready? Words.
You see how I didn't listen to anything you said?
It's called autonomy. What was I gonna say? So yeah, these are just things I'd suggest, especially going into your first session.
Okay, let me do this. Sorry, Chad. I know this is supposed to be about you, but this is about therapy and mental health.
It is about therapy, so
Okay,
this is for everybody.
Ask. I don't think that's the right setting. No, it is. Damn, I'm just pushing really hard. Ask for homework.
Ask for homework.
Man, my handwriting is garbage. I need to put a new tip on this pen.
Oh, so speaking of the Remarkable.
The Remarkable.
I was using the Remarkable to fill out apartment applications, for for everything and doing all the paperwork, because you could send PDFs to your Remarkable,
Right.
fill it out,
Yes.
and then email it back to you, and that's really convenient.
It is.
So I was doing that, and which again, I don't have Remarkable. Artemis has the Remarkable.
I have a Remarkable too.
Yes, you do.
We both have one because it's great. I highly recommend it for anybody that's taking notes. Get a Remarkable, not sponsored.
You know what?
Yeah, dude, I
You're
need,
right.
yeah, I need a sponsor.
You do need them. As of all sponsors, that's the one right there.
Yeah, I need a Remarkable sponsor. I don't know what they're going to give me that I already don't have. I have the one product they sell.
Pen tips.
That pen tips, yeah, but
that's because his is all fucked too, and it was like kind of twisting and turning to get the good angle every time on its own, and I was like, this is pissing me off.
Yeah, that's what mine's starting to do, but the difference between Artemis and myself is I have a box full of damn pen tips. He doesn't. He lost his.
True.
That's why he came asking me for one.
I'm about to ask you one and be like, this is just for me, and only use it when I'm using it.
You guys need to buy your own damn pen tips. All right, so ask for question or homework. Listen to spiel, whatever. So that's going to be the whole thing. I'm not really going to give them any. So tell them what I'm working on.
You should focus on giving them information about history. History is really important in your first session too.
Tell history. Listen to, what is it called? Like the HIPAA or something?
Informed consent.
Informed consent.
Correct.
Real quick, because I forgot, I wanted to write this down. What was the name of that pyramid thing?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Maslow.
Yeah.
Yeah, might have to be big words. Hierarchy of needs. Pyramid thing. Because I kept thinking about that. I probably spelled his name wrong and hierarchy, so but whatever.
MASLOW.
MA?
MA.
Okay, I put MO. That's fine.
Maslow. Not mold. Maslow.
Alright, there we go. That's those notes. I just gotta remember to take this with me tomorrow because I'm gonna go to work. Well, first I'm gonna go to the gym, and then I'm gonna go to work, and then I'm gonna go back. So it's like I gotta go down the street to the gym, come back to my house, get changed, head east to work, then come all the way back past my house, head west to go to therapy, come all the way back to my house, go back to east to go to work, to come all the way back to my house again. Oh, it's gonna be a day.
That sounds like a day. Did I
driving.
Okay, so what I want to go ahead and talk about today is the importance of listening to your body, of when you need to tell your body to meaning when you need to take care of your body when you are hitting burnout. So I want to go ahead and be transparent of what happened, why we didn't have Therapy Thursday last week was because I ended up having a pretty significant trauma response to some kind of a line of triggers in my body that came up from something that was triggering at work. And the thing is, in reflection of my personal treatment, in my mental health treatment, is that, as indicated by my therapist, she shared and kind of put together for me that because I've been doing so much work where I'm not so impacted by my trauma, where I'd be desensitized to it, I actually feel everything now because my body feels safe enough to do so. that when I experience triggers now, as I'm like learning to still process the emotions that I'm no longer numbed out to, that when they come in waves, it's important for me to just feel them and experience them. Except this particular note or this particular like point in my trauma vein
Mm-hmm.
of pain ultimately put me out of commission for 4 days, where I was significantly impacted by depression. I was experiencing significant cry spells. I was either sleeping or crying. It was hard to maintain appetite, if eating at all. And until I was able to identify what was going on, which then I got to the root of what was going on, cried it out, talked it out, processed it, and it finally moved past itself. Until then, I was not doing so hot. And the worst part is that I initially was numb to it. But then the emotional wave started hitting me very close to Therapy Thursday. So shout out to Kilted for the attunement of this one. But I definitely had to listen to my body and go take care of myself. I'm still feeling I'm still feeling it. It's just much, much more manageable. And because I have to listen to my body even to this degree, I'm going to be taking time off work, not for this upcoming week, but the week after that. And I am just going to rest.
You're probably going to end up moving that week.
No, I mean, unless something comes up, because even the I was about to turn in all the paperwork for the apartment that I was set up to do, and I missed the window by a few hours. Somebody got the news that of the urgency of getting this place, and they swooped it from underneath me. So it ain't moving time yet, unless a miracle happened.
What'd we learn?
I don't know. They didn't tell me it was open until like 10 to 12 hours before this. So I moved as fast as I possibly could. Somebody else was just faster.
What'd we learn? That the market is tough right now. Got to be on your toes.
Oh yeah, the market is tough, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, hey, like things are outside of my control. Like I can only do the best that I can. And I ended up, because of that, more places also that were better with more space that were cheaper opened up in better areas. So I was just like, oh, so maybe this is also an opportunity.
Yes.
So that's exciting. So I am curious and excited to see all the places this moving experience will take me. So yeah.
All right, so you said your whole bummed outness was that you said it was work related, correct?
Correct.
And then so you noticed burnout.
Correct.
And so my question is how, because I look at what I've been going through, and you can like, I feel like being just depressed and then having burnout can be very similar in symptoms. Is there a way you can tell them apart?
I think that's a good question. I think in itself that burnout is your system depressed. Because what is depression? Outside of it impacting mood and being mood based as well in itself. Depression is also just like also just like what it says in the word. It's like it's the depression of like the body. There's like emotional numbness that occurs. There's like a disconnect to emotional experiences and connection to the body, right? And a impacted kind of like emotional deadness that happens to connecting and listening to and being able to hear the signals in your body. And very similar to burnout in itself is also the deadening of those signals. So I think that like something like nervous system burnout or like bodily burnout is just a much more physiological focused emphasis of depression.
Gotcha. But it sounds like regular
So
burnout can like be turned around easier.
it depends, because again, it goes down into waves, and I think again, it's important to know like depression in itself has different severities. So it's like the even in like the diagnostic manual, it's very much important to know that like there's ways of like how severe depression can be and how that plays a role in diagnosing. So it's like I think it's important to know that like depression looks very different in everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, for instance, hold on, I'm trying to see because I'm also doing I'm also doing I used this time to do my paperwork for clients too. I only have 3 minutes left. Okay, so let's go and open up my diagnostic manual real quick. Yeah. So let's look at depression. So let me grab my notes because I like to make notes about everything.
Good. That's the way it's
I
supposed to
know.
be. That's what they taught you in school.
Yeah, so it also helps me because I am done with getting my clinical hours. Yay! So once I get all my paperwork signed off and everything and send it off to the associated board that I work under for mental health stuff, and they approve my hours, I get to go take my licensing test. Boop, boop, boop. Anyway,
What's the
so
licensing going to be for? So you can open up your own
so
doodad?
the licensing is so that I could be able to, yeah, I could be like my own boss. It's like anytime if you hear let's just say if you hear an individual have an associate term in front of their name, or their credentials, that means that they're still collecting hours, or they're still at a place where they have to wait till approval of the Board of Behavioral Sciences to say, hey, you collected the required amount of hours that are associated with your credentials, and you could go take a test, and that test is like a business license in itself, where it's like, hey, you can represent yourself,
Right.
you and
Like
you
you're
don't have to
skilled
work.
enough to.
You're skilled enough, because like it's also to protect clients, because a lot of times people are like, oh, you should be just done with grad school and then go into the world, but this is supposed to give you that kind of like that leeway to protecting the clients, to learn without doing too much harm to the clients or to self, to kind of get that experience. And
Yeah.
then after that, you can work for yourself, you can do group practice, you can do like much more ranges of stuff, but ultimately you do not work under a clinician's license any longer. You work under your own license, and that's what I'm gonna have to do at one point in the next couple of months, where I'm gonna have to start studying to go take my test, and it will be the last major test for my degree I will ever have to take, unless I decide to get my doctorate after all.
Exactly. I was going to say, unless you decide to get your doctorate. I was like, don't give me that crap. You're going to go in there
And
and be like, I want to be Dr. Asteria. Look at me. Do. And then I get to go around town and be like, that person has a doctorate. And they're like, did you know that sometimes carrots are green and purple? And like, that person's a doctor? Yes.
I'm quite insulted, Kilted, because I'd obviously go around town to inform people that broccoli is a mutated cabbage, and it is not naturally made on its own. You're
Is it
welcome,
really?
everybody. You're welcome. See, you're welcome.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I found that out actually with one evening with our eldest, because I don't remember what we were doing. I think we were looking up random facts about stuff, because I just like having random facts of. I like to consider myself the encyclopedia of random stuff, And that is one of the pieces of random stuff that I like to know. I think it also applies to a few different items and vegetables and fruits, but definitely broccoli.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, ready
Actually,
to talk about depression?
do what?
You ready to talk about depression?
Sure.
Okay. So, let's see. Let's talk about what are different types of, or what we'll talk about symptoms of depression and what different types of depression are there. Because contrary to popular belief, depression doesn't automatically equate to what people think depression looks like.
And what does depression look like to most people?
So depression may look like it's a varying experience, right? But ultimately, a lot of times people think it could just be like, oh, you're just kind of like down, you're sad, you sleep a lot, let's see, low mood, maybe suicidality, something we bring into the mix, and so forth. But it's like there's a lot of things that like can contribute to common signs of depression. So I'm going to break it down into the feelings portion and the behavioral portion of what can constitute and make up the symptoms of depression. So they could include symptoms similar to restlessness, agitation, or irritability.
No, it's an actual brain for school.
They could include isolation or unable to relate to other people, finding no pleasure in life or things you usually enjoy, a sense of unreality or disconnect from reality, an impacted self-confidence or no confidence or self-esteem. You could feel down, upset, or tearful. You could have guilt, worthlessness, or down on yourself. Other things could look like it could also be emptiness or numbness. There, for some, when we start to get more into the more severe, it could be more like hopelessness and despair. Or it can include suicidality. So that's the feelings portion of it.
Wow, yeah.
Stand out to you?
Like 99% of those I'm dealing with.
Yeah. So that's the emotional portion. This is what the behavioral portion will look like. Avoiding social events and activities you usually enjoy. Self-harming or suicidal behaviors. Difficulty speaking, thinking clearly, or making decisions. Significant loss in sex. Or losing interest in sex and sex-related behaviors. Sorry, I need some water. Difficulty remembering or concentrating on things. Using more tobacco, alcohol, or other substance use than usual. Difficulty sleeping or sleeping too much. Feeling tired all the time. No appetite and losing weight, or eating too much and gaining weight. So again, that's another one. A lot of times people are like, oh, they just don't eat much. It's like, actually, they also could just be eating, they could also eat a lot, and well, a much more significant amount. Physical aches and pains with no obvious physical cause. And moving very slowly, or being restless and agitated. Or another one I have to put on this list is either, oh wait, no, I said it, I just didn't use the other term, where it says difficult sleeping or sleeping too much. Oh yeah, so another one could also be that somebody could be experiencing insomnia.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are like, oh, they don't sleep or they sleep a lot. I'm like, a lot of times for is a symptom is that they don't sleep at all. So yeah, these are the physical the behavioral symptoms related to depression.
Nice. Again,
Hey.
99% of those.
My water did not say my water said, wait, this is what my water said. That's what my water said. So, man. So those are much more the common symptoms. Something that's a little less known is that there also could be times where people may experience such a severe episode of depression that they may experience psychotic symptoms. This would be a depressive diagnosis with psychotic features, where they could have delusions such as paranoia, or they could have hallucinations such as they could be hearing things. They could have what are called tactile hallucinations, where they can that's where they can feel like feelings and sensations in their skin and their body. So again, the tactile is like all of a sudden, like I don't know if you ever saw The Mummy, like I think it was in 1999.
All the
and
scared
like
beetles came out.
And the beetles were like under their arms.
Yeah.
Well, that for some people with paranoid symptoms, they could feel like they have like bumps running across their arm and stuff like that. So these are just a lot of the symptoms, but the different types of depression can vary. So some of the types of depression can look like there could be seasonal affect disorder, which is depression that occurs at a particular time of year or during a particular season. There's dysthymia, which is continuous mild depression that lasts for 2 or more years. It's also called, I don't know if it's called this anymore, but I think it was at one point called persistent depressive disorder or chronic depression, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's prenatal depression, which is depression that occurs during pregnancy.
I've got that.
Yeah, you totally got that. I'm trying to remember what it's also called. I think it's like called antenatal depression. And then there's also postnatal depression, which is depression that occurs in the weeks or months after becoming a parent.
I've always been curious about that.
I want to make this very clear, because they're like, oh yeah, for people, like women who give birth, and it's like, but it's not just that. It can also affect anybody that's between the parents that of the child. They could both be subjective and can risk getting postnatal depression. And then the last one, which is much more physiologically based, is called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or PMDD. And so although it's not like although in itself, I guess I think they're still up to debate if it's still depression, but they commonly have a lot of similar major symptoms. So that's where it gets tricky, because that's where you have to know the difference between diagnostic criteria. But yeah, those are different types of depressions.
So what's the difference between because you said postnatal, but then I hear postpartum. Is that the same thing, or?
I mean, postpartum, postnatal, like, teach their own. I think it's kind of just because I think postnatal is like also capturing all of the parental figures involved.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. So it sounded like to me. You need to get those ears checked over there with all that in the water. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the depression so far?
Well, I recognize probably 99% of all that crap. I think I might have that 2-year one and that seasonal one.
And that's the things that I would encourage you to like emphasize with your first session of like, hey, I definitely had these depressive symptoms. Here's the history of what I've had with these symptoms, and this is what it looks like with these things. But I would definitely encourage, and not just to you, but to the universal you, to anyone that's listening, always be transparent about your substance use with your therapist, please, or your doctor, because any chemical and any behavior that impacts the flow of chemicals in your body is important to have on record so that they can give you proper treatment.
Right.
I have had so many clients who have shared, they're like, that I have been trying to figure out for months of like, why is this thing not working, blah blah blah, and they're like, oh, should it be important to know that I smoke pot every night? I'm like, yes, that is really important. Thank you for finally telling me. Oh, 7 months down the road.
So now all the puzzle pieces line up. We can get this train rolling. It all puts together.
I literally had a client. I won't give too many details, obviously, but I was working with them for a few months, and a lot of what they needed was what is called behavioral activation, where they needed to find methods to start integrating and increasing certain behaviors to accomplish more goals that they were trying to that they're coming for treatment for. But every time they were like, I'm just going to bed right after, and I kept on saying, it's like, oh, I get it, it's probably because of their job, because they had a very very heavy and demanding medical based job, and so it was like very heavy, like, and everything like that. So, and they work and they did night shifts, so it was like, oh gosh, like maybe that's a contributing factor. But then they went on vacation and they were still feeling it, and I was just like, something isn't aligning here, like. And so after a while, they're like, hey, can I happen to know, like, is there any way anybody could get a hold of these notes, right? And then, so again, in informed consent, if you're getting treatment by your insurance has the right to look over your notes in order to justify if criteria is being met for treatment to still be like warranted to continue to get coverage, right? So I do have to inform you that it's going to be looked over by your insurance, right? Not in depth, not to like all the notes, but like there's certain things that they might check here and there. They can only do so much, right? But they were fearful, and I was like, after clarifying, they were fearful that their job was going to find out that they smoke pot and that they take edibles. And I was like, you know who would be really important to know that? Me, your therapist. So, yep.
The brain wizard.
Hello, I'm here to go zippity zappity, swiggity swooty, the depression is booty. That's it.
We're gonna get you a big old hat.
That's all I want this year. If anyone's like, what do you want for your birthday? I want a big old hat, and it just says Brain Wizard. I want it purple, and I want it with a lot of yellow stars all over it. Extra sparkly.
And we can get you a staff also to put on it, and then when clients come into work, you can just be like, "Hear ye! You have entered the realm of the Brain Wizard." They'd be like, this shit is intense. This is not what I thought therapy was going to be like at all.
Silence! Silence! How dare you insult me?
Gaze upon my degree and know that I am all powerful in this realm.
It's just hanging off by a thread off the wall.
It's like, yes, I better fix that.
It is warranted. The wizard has spoken. But yeah. It's so fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Like I said, a new client would just be like, this is not what I thought therapy was at all. This shit is fucking intense.
Let's kind of also just be honest, though. I know chat can't see me and stuff like that, but the fact of the matter is, I got these tattoos on my arm. I look how the way I look, and I often and on a very regular pattern of time and basis, I have multiple sweaters that have moons and stars all over them, and I have this giant tapestry of Middle Earth in my office. I'm like, welcome, I am a professional.
And she wears a beanie with dog ears on it.
I do wear a beanie with dog ears. And shout out to Eggie. I love that beanie. It is like a life force to me now.
Jesus.
Bow before thee. Yes, bow before thee. It's just is, and it's just so fucking hilarious to me.
It's apostrophe R-E. Sorry.
And I'm 85. I own 85 actually. You just didn't know it. But I even laughed because one time I was running group therapy and the clients were like complaining about something about another group facilitator, but I had to shut that down. And then they're like, and then somebody was like processing. It's like, oh, I just started doing trauma treatment with me, which then I had to be like, I cannot remember tonight. But then the other clients are like, oh, you're gonna do great and it'll be fantastic. I was like, oh, we don't. And they're like, Mary, shut up. You're the best therapist here. Or sorry, they're like, shut up. You're the best therapist here. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. You are.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's apostrophe R-E. You gotta do grammar correction. But yeah, I would love to see, like, you have a client, then they go somewhere else. They're like, well, how was it with your previous clinician? Like, well, you know, when they gave me the brain wizard speech, they did this, you know, and I was just kind of off put by the whole like song and dance of it. But it was pretty cool with the hat and everything. And then the new clinician's like, what are you talking about?
Do you all not wear the hat?
Do you guys not wear the hat and drink of the goblet of truth?
Oh man,
they'd be
that's
like,
freaking hilarious.
Right.
They're gonna call me up and they're gonna be like, what is this about a hat?
I'm like, I don't know, they're just crazy. They need help. I couldn't do it.
It's like, that's all on you, champ. Goodbye.
You have power to ruin that entire industry. Just know that.
I had to do what is called a consultation, where the clinician after me had to reach out and for a client, and the client was like very hung up on like how things ended with their treatment with me, because they ended up developing like an unhealthy attachment to me, even though I was doing my job of like not condoning it and not giving it the time that the client wanted for me. And so they were like coming in, or like the clinician was coming in to try to defend the client. They're like, they were saying you did all these things and everything like that. And like they're saying like all their grievances of what they're coming to treatment for has to do with like how things ended. And I was like, interesting. Did they also inform you that they were waiting outside of my office for 4 hours because they wanted to say goodbye to me after denying the need of an inpatient level of care after being hauled away off by the cops?
Oh, it was that one.
Yeah. And then silence, right, from the therapist, and they're just like, I think they failed to mention that part. I'm like, okay, great. You go talk to them first about that.
And then you get back to me. I'd like an update. Okay, bye.
Bye. And that is what happened.
There's something about knowing what you're doing and then being able to be cocky about it. It's just, it's kind of nice.
It is nice. I'm not gonna lie. At first I was gonna be like, no, but it is. Let's just be honest that it is. Like, I feel a lot of times when people obviously don't know what they're talking about for mental health stuff, and then they try to come at me of like talking out the what did a client once say? They like, oh, talking out the side of their face. I like that. That was a good one. And I'm just sitting there and they're just like, I know so much about mental health than what you know. And I was like, oh, how did, like, what degree and like what background? And they're like, well, I watched a YouTube video. And I'm like,
did you talk to Dr. Pepper too?
No, they talked to Mr. Pibb.
Well, he doesn't have his degree, so.
I mean, neither do they. So, such as it is. I think it's just wild. Like, when people talk outside of their scope of competence. But when you do know and you do speak in between or in your scope of competence and you know what the heck you're talking about, love that stuff. Love it so much.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this before. I heard, I don't know the quote exactly, but it went something along the lines that it's like, there's nothing more dangerous than someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, but they don't know that they don't know what they're talking about.
What a place to be.
Or something like that. It's like, it's dangerous when people think they know something, but they don't. And they don't know that they don't know.
Yeah.
They legitimately think they're correct, even though they're not. That's a scary thing. They're not just trying to be an ass. It's just, they're just unaware that they're wrong.
Yeah. And then it's just kind of bonkers to me.
Yes.
It really is bonkers to me. Well, what do you feel like with you getting ready for your treatment tomorrow or your first day? What is it that you feel like you want to kind of like accomplish for yourself? You don't have to say everything, but just like one idea.
Not feel depressed all the damn time anymore. Basically,
a very good one.
The main reason I asked about Mars Bar's pyramid of eats. Yeah. Maslow's hierarchy pyramid or whatever.
Futon.
Yeah, the the futon of hope. Because basically I kind of looked at that when you showed it before, when we looked at it before, and I was like, see, that all makes sense, so let's start there and then see if it solves the other problems.
I always tell people, like my clients, when I first start working with them.
I'll pull it up so I can check the chat.
A lot of times clients will like think like, oh, I should start feeling better gradually. I always am very honest with my clients and saying very transparently, I'm like, there might be a chance you might feel a bit worse because a lot of times you're so accustomed to the numbness of your emotions related to this, but once you start doing work, you might actually feel worse because you're feeling, period. But I would encourage to still keep on sticking through it, because you're not just getting the skills to like feel it, but you're also getting the skills to put parameters around your feelings so that they also don't consume you. And I think that's really important.
Right. All right, there you go, Chad. There's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So you start at the bottom, you got to get that stuff. So you got to start with breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep, basically don't die. And then you move up to the next stage. Once those are all fixed, you go to health, employment, property, family, and social ability. So stuff like that. Then after you go past that, you get to go and have friendship, family, intimacy, sense of connection, so love and belonging. And then up from there, self-esteem. You get confidence, achievements, respect of others, the need to be unique individual. And then after that, the pinnacle,
self-actualization.
Yeah, self-actualization, the pinnacle, morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, meaning, and inner potential. So I think I'm between the yellow and orange still down there. That's where I'm starting off.
So I'm between love and belonging to self-actualization, because I have these moments like that are increasing in quantity where I feel very okay with life. Like I don't have any grievances and I can just keep on going. Like even right now, even though I'm feeling kind of low, it's not like where things don't, like I don't feel like I'm not loved. I don't feel like I don't have connection. I don't feel like these things. However, I still also feel like I'm in a sensitive, I feel some bits of anxiety because I'm in a vulnerable state, which is something that just will come with time because I am not used to things feeling okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, I feel like let's also take a moment to talk about anxiety.
Let's.
I feel like anxiety is also something important because anxiety has so many like pieces to it. So because I think anxiety is again one of those times where it's like it's such a blanket statement that people don't like actually know what anxiety is. But I would like to start off by asking you, how would you define anxiety?
Isn't it more of like a feeling essentially, as like overwhelmingness, loss of control, possible paranoia of sorts, just like a sense of overwhelmingness. Is that a word?
Overwhelmingness?
Yeah.
It sounds like a word.
Yeah, that you're just like, you're overwhelmed. There's too much. There's a situation that's happening and you do not know how to handle it. Whatever it may be. Like planning out your day or setting up a doctor's appointment or what am I going to have for dinner? You can get anxiety from any of that crap. Just like making a decision.
It could be. Those are all things that could be very much anxiety inducing. I'm trying to think of what's like the best way to kind of go about talking and explaining it. So anxiety is when you feel like worried or tense or afraid, but particularly about things that are about to happen, or what we think, because anxiety is very future based.
Right.
So a lot of times when it comes to anxiety, it's when you get signals from your body, where your body feels like it's experiencing the pressure of threat to self. And so a lot of times when people undermine anxiety and they disregard their anxiety, they're also disregarding the signals that their bodies are naturally set up to do, that are hardwired to say, hey, you're in danger, right?
Right.
And in addition to that, though, is that if you're somebody that has been exposed to environments of trauma, such as like being in a home with a lot of yelling growing up, or being in a home with unpredictability of how a parent was going to respond to you and so forth, those could play an impact in the hardwire of anxiety. Because what is anxiety? Anxiety is impacted trust and a lack of security, right? And so many times, and most people that feel anxious, is that their body's trying to cope with the discomfort that their body is holding, relating to feeling like it's in distress. And that's what anxiety is in itself. So anxiety in itself is something that naturally happens, but when anxiety gets to a point where it's misaligned or it's misaligned to the signals appropriate, or the energy that's appropriate to managing all of that, what is now happens is that you have an anxiety disorder. And could look like anytime also if any of your trauma responses are hypersensitive, and are hyper kind of like, yeah, I think sensitive is the best word, because it's like, it's just what it is. It's like whenever like you have a wound, like let's just say that you really hurt your leg, right? And if you never get proper care to your leg, what happens anytime that you even bump your leg? You get surges of like a lot of pain and a lot of like reactions and signals that cause you to react in a way to protect the wound, right?
Right.
So that's the same thing like anxiety. Is that anxiety or an anxiety disorder is like your brain has these wounds in itself in the limbic system, once again, so shout out to the limbic system, where it remembered that, hey, this hasn't been processed, this hasn't gotten a chance to heal, and anytime it gets any messages or signals to that place, it becomes overreactive to where it thinks that you're in danger to the equivalence of when you got the wounds to begin with, and it will react accordingly, however disproportionate to the situation at hand.
Gotcha.
So this is where fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses come in. So like all animals, especially mammals, human beings, limbic system, human beings have evolved ways to help us protect ourselves from danger, right?
Right.
So when we feel under threat, our bodies react by releasing certain hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol, right? Which can be helpful because these hormones help us feel more alert and act faster, and they make our hearts beat quicker, sending blood to where it's needed the most, right?
Right.
So that's great in that that will keep us safe. But if we've been exposed to circumstances that have disproportionately sent that signal, then our bodies release those hormones, but then it could be in abundance. This is why people who have anxiety may have also impacted relationships to body weight that is stored into their body. So they could be eating however they needed to take care of themselves and taking care of themselves physically, and they still, because of anxiety disorders, it can impact the amount of weight and fat that stays on their body. So that's important to know. The other thing that's important to know is that our bodies usually release other hormones to help our muscles relax after the threat has passed. This can sometimes cause our bodies to shake. So this is where the famous leg shake comes from. And a lot of people are like, what's going on there? It's like, that's actually also another form of like self-soothing, that your body's trying to manage a threat to pass as well. So
I get that a lot.
Yeah, because there might be a possibility you have an anxiety disorder and your body is disproportionate to the amount of cortisol and adrenaline it's sending to you, in addition to the chemicals in order to calm down your body. And because it's disproportionate and misaligned, it could be not doing what it needs to be doing anymore. So we're going to talk about symptoms of anxiety, and we're going to talk about it on the physiological level. So our bodies, our physiological level, and then we're going to talk about on the mental level. Okay.
Sounds good.
So the body, what it may look like is that these are some types of ways that it could affect the body. There could be a churning feeling in the stomach. There could be lightheadedness or dizziness. It can cause pins and needles feelings throughout your body in different areas. It can cause restlessness or an inability to sit still. This is also called psychomotor agitation. It can cause headaches, bad back aches, or other aches and pains in your body. It could cause gastrointestinal issues, by the way, as well. A lot of times people are like, oh, it has to do with diet. I'm like, it also could be anxiety.
I've been having that lately, but I know it's diet. I can
Okay.
pinpoint exactly what happened.
Is it the Taco Bell?
No, it was carne asada fries with a bunch of really hot sauce on it and a 6 rolls of rolled tacos. All in one sitting. That was a lot of food. Yeah, today's been a stay out of my office kind of day.
Yeah, I hear your body's trying to take care of itself.
It's like, what is all this stuff? It burns.
Let's see. Faster breathing. That's one thing. A fast so there could be heart palpitations that are too fast or irregular.
Okay.
You could start having hot flashes or sweating.
I've had that.
Like at a significant and disproportionate level. Because again, what did we say? Your body's sending these signals to your body to start having your heart beating fast to get ready to send blood to where it needs to go to get away from the threat, right?
Yeah.
Except it also needs to cool down afterwards. So it could also impact the way that your body is able to cool itself down.
Yeah, I think last time I came down to your place, I think we were at dinner or something. I was like, I'm having another one of these freaking hot flashes where I just started overheating like profusely for no reason. Yeah.
Well, that could be a possibility of why you're having that. Then there's sleep problems are associated with anxiety. Grinding your teeth is also another one. Nausea is something that comes with it. It could impact the amount of times you go to the restroom, or it increase the need to use the restroom, or significantly decrease the amount of time that you go to the restroom. It can impact your sex drive, and you could have panic attacks, which panic attacks are again the disproportionate signals to your body that feels like it's in danger, and therefore you might in itself have these waves of panic that are disproportionate to the anxiety that is going on for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have those at a chronic level where you have panic attacks at a certain amount of durations, you could then develop what is called panic disorder.
Oof.
So that is the effects on the body. Would you like to hear the effects on the mind?
Sure.
So these can include feeling tense, nervous, or inability to relax. You can have chronic or a constant feeling of dread or fearing the worst. You could feel like the world is speeding up or slowing down. You could feel like other people can see you're anxious and are looking at you, so you also deal with hypervigilance. I like to call it hypermentalization, but whatever. Feeling like you can't stop worrying or bad things will happen to you if you stop worrying. Worrying about anxiety itself, for example, worrying about when panic attacks might happen. Wanting lots of reassurance from other people or worrying that people are angry or upset with you. Worrying that you're losing touch with reality. Low mood with and even depression, because they can feed off of each other. You could have rumination, where it's just where you think about a lot about bad experience or overthink a situation again and again and again. And if you have a chronic level of anxiety diagnoses, this can start playing an impact to dissociative disorders. So you could experience certain dissociative disorders such as depersonalization, which is a type of dissociation where you feel disconnected from your body and mind, or like you are a character that you are watching in a film. So I like to kind of see depersonalization is like if you're playing Sims.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll go around and do actions, but you don't feel connected to it, or you're like looking upon yourself. And derealization is another type of dissociation where you feel disconnected from the world around you or feel like the world isn't real. And the last one is worrying a lot about things that might happen in the future. So there's a lot of what I like to call future tripping. So these are the different types of symptoms.
Oof. There's a lot of those.
Yeah. That's okay. You're going to treatment.
Yeah, one of the big ones was the rumination thing. Like, I've noticed myself doing this a lot. Pretty much anytime I have an interaction with someone, after I walk away from the interaction, I will sit there and constantly replay that interaction and just break it down in my head. No matter how long the interaction was. It could be like, hey, how's it going? Oh, cool. Did you get that thing done today? Awesome. Have a nice day. And then I'd be sitting there, I'm like, man, was I standing weird? Was that person, what do they think of me? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it happens all the time. Fucking constantly.
You might be an anxiety diagnosis. Like I said, these are all things I definitely encourage you to discuss with your therapist to get more insight, because that is a lot that could fall on a person's shoulders.
Oh yeah. It happened just the other day. I was like, great.
So the last thing I want to go over is the different types of diagnoses, because again, people may not know this, and I think it's important. So we're going to start off with the basics, but in no means where it's any less impactful. Where is what is called generalized anxiety disorder, which means like you're having regular or uncontrollable worries about many different areas in your life. So because there's like a lot of possible symptoms of anxiety, and it's a very broad diagnosis, that means that the experience that one person has with GAD, or generalized anxiety disorder, can be very different from another person's GAD. So always know that in the game of comparing diagnoses and trauma, everybody loses.
Yes.
So the next one is social anxiety disorder. So this is where Asteria has a bit of a pet peeve with the world. There is a difference between social anxiety and social anxiety disorder. And when people are like, oh, I just have a little bit of a fear if people think I'm weird, that does not mean you automatically have social anxiety disorder. Because social anxiety disorder can be very debilitating for some folks, so that's my pet peeve. Because in itself can be a type of phobia. So I'll explain. Social anxiety disorder, this diagnosis means that you're experiencing an extreme fear or anxiety triggered by social situations such as parties, workplaces, or everyday situations where you have to talk to another person. And in that, you may have a chronic debilitation of functioning due to the fear of how you are perceived in others in a social settings. So it's not something quirky for some folks. It literally can like impact people's abilities to like live. That's social anxiety disorder. Then there's panic disorder, which again I already said. It means that you're having regular or frequent panic attacks without clear cause or trigger. So experiencing panic disorder can mean that you feel constantly afraid of having another panic disorder to the point that the fear itself can trigger another panic disorder or a panic attack. So, and yes, I've had a client with panic disorder where they sat there in front of me and they're like, but what if another one comes? And I had to like try to be like, no, 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 no. And then saw themselves worry themselves into another panic disorder. That was a hard case. Then the next one is just overall phobias. Phobias are a form of anxiety diagnoses and disorders because a phobia is an extreme fear or anxiety triggered by a particular situation or particular object.
Can they be overcome? I mean, I know some can't. Yeah.
Yeah, they can. There's specific modalities towards phobias. That are called like exposure therapy. That's broken down into a 10-point module to kind of expose an individual without overstimulating or putting them outside of their window of tolerance. And they also could do trauma-based modalities because a lot of times this is trauma-based. So by also working on what's causing the trauma, that could also desensitize the phobia towards the specific object or situation. And so they can very much be overcome.
Yeah, I would wonder how that could happen because I get claustrophobic. I don't like that crap. I've watched people do those videos of them like spelunking into like caves and stuff. And I'm just like freaking the fuck out, but I can't stop watching it for some reason.
So,
man.
So I'll definitely say one of the phobias I had for quite some time was ever being in a situation where I could not leave somewhere. Like if I was in a place and I could not get out in some capacity, I start freaking out like beyond, like very disproportionate to the situation at hand. And when I realized it's like, where was this coming from? It was because of when I was little, when I was very young, I went with our dad used to go to 12-step meetings a lot. And when we went to a 12-step meeting one time, there was a kid who trapped me in the bathroom and like held it closed on the outside, and I was screaming. I was not doing well. I was freaking out, and then I couldn't breathe anymore. Like I was there like gasping for air. Like there's plenty of space, but that's not what matters in those times. And so I was freaking out, and that contributed a lot to that feeling for me. So for anyone that like ever wants to run a joke with me, do not like, I know it's gotten a lot better, but like if you hold a door closed where I can't leave and like I can't like jump out of a window or something like that, it will be not a fun time for Asteria or anyone
I will
involved.
go through that wall.
Like I will literally destroy. Like I will start making a human-sized like outline of me to get out of that space.
Wile E. Coyote it right through the wall.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I would just maneuver myself right through it. It's so funny because that evening I was screaming so loud to the point where then our dad heard me and he got me out of there, and then I saw him turn around and he was full going after this like 12-year-old boy, and they had to like stop him because and I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah.
This family's great. I kind of had that situation earlier this week as I went to the bank to cash my check, and the parking lot that this bank is in, I went there at a not normal time, and there's a school across the street that let out right when I pulled into that parking lot. And guess what?
Oh, no.
All the parents like to go into that parking lot. So I parked my car, cashed my check, got back in my car. I literally could not pull out of my parking spot. I was stuck there, and I started freaking the fuck out because I was like, dude,
Yeah.
I was in this parking lot for 15 minutes. It was pissing me off. And I was just like, dude, I can't move. I can't go forward. So I just like threw it in reverse, like backed up through some other area, like weaseled my way around. And these high school kids, man, they just don't give a shit. So there's this thing amongst kids, and it's not just kids. I see it with adults around here all the time, and it pisses me off. But this concept of walking in the middle of the road like you own the place is okay, especially when there's cars driving. So I saw that happening, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. So I just like fucking started like just going through and like getting really close to them. They all got pissed off. It was like I didn't touch them or anything, but it's like, dude, you're in the middle of the fucking road. Move. This is where cars go. The sidewalk is right there, but you insist on being in the middle of the street, so I'm gonna drive close to you like some fucking cyclist in the middle of the road. Don't get me started on the damn cyclist, even though I am one, but it's just, God, man, some of those guys are just stupid. I'm like, you're making the rest of us look bad.
I definitely can say, like, when that happens, I, like, even in times, let's just say, like, I'm backing up out of a spot, and like everything keeps happening where I can't back out of the spot, I can feel that disproportionate anxiety signals in my body, because what's going on for me is that I don't like being in that position where it's like half of my car is like sticking out, and like the idea of like getting my car getting hit is something I can't stand, and so I am like sitting there, and like people are just taking their time and strolling behind my car. Or like the one time I was backing up and somebody stopped behind my car while they're walking to text.
Oh, that happens to me all the time. That pisses me off.
I literally was just like, I literally just rolled. I was like, move! Like, no, that's not the spot. And so, yeah, it could be really, just, it's too much.
Yeah. Texting is so bad. Just so many people just stop in the middle of the road to text, whether driving or walking, and I'm just like, hello, car. I'm here.
Let's see, what's the next one on the list?
You're still going with the anxiety stuff.
So the next one is PTSD.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a diagnosis you will be given if you develop anxiety problems after going something that you found traumatic. I really like the wording of that, because a lot of times, again, people think that PTSD has to be where it's this very identifiable event that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But as like they're expanding on the awareness of trauma, and they've been expanding a lot in the last, let's say, like in the last like 60-ish years, about related to trauma. So it's like, it's not just like these identifiable moments where it's like, or it's not just limited to, they definitely aren't to be disregarded. They're just called big T traumas.
Right.
So that can include like car accidents, emotional, physical, mental, physiological, sexual abuse, exposure to a war zone, something that threatened your life pretty significantly.
Mm-hmm.
That those do consider that is considered, but it's also like small T traumas, which is where it's like less distinguished moments that also contribute to trauma. So it could also be like, let's say that you had a parent that was inconsistent in their responses to you. So all of a sudden you couldn't tell the difference of like when you tell them a piece of information, if they're going to be like, oh yeah, whatever, or they'll like scream at you or slam doors or leave or blah blah blah.
Yes.
And that is trauma. Like that is definitely trauma. And so that could be very impactful to anxiety symptoms, because it can involve like experiencing stuff like flashbacks or nightmares, which nightmares are symptoms related to PTSD, where it's like you feel like you're reliving the event again, and so all that fear and all the anxiety experienced from the traumatic event is triggered again, and that's what a trigger is. So a lot of times when I hear people saying like, oh, blah blah blah, these young people and talking about triggers and blah, blah, I'm like, you mean everybody? Because everybody has triggers. Like everyone. What is a trigger? A trigger is when something occurs that has a cause and effect to impacting stimuli, right? So the thing is that if you had, let's say, like here's something I know, like all three of us as siblings definitely have when it comes to a trigger. If someone closes the door hard.
Yes.
When that, okay, so I'm not even gonna say it yet. For you, if someone closes the door hard, what happens almost instantly for you?
You just go, fucking goddamn it, stop.
Right. But do you happen to know why you do that anymore?
Probably because our parents used to slam doors all the damn time when they were pissed.
Right. And so every time somebody does that, the reason why we experience those feelings of disproportionate agitation and irritation is because when we get that, it sends a signal to our body where it feels like it's in danger, even though we rationally know we're not in danger. And because we have to experience the discomfort of that, we experience the agitation. And so then we project that. And that's just trauma. That's trauma. So yeah, there's that.
That happened to me at work today. Yeah.
Did it? Tell me more about what happened today.
Just people came in, slammed the door super hard, and I'm just in my office. I'm just like, fuck. Like, why can't we operate the door like normal people? It's fucking annoying.
Yeah. It can be very annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. The next one on the list is OCD. OCD is an anxiety disorder.
Had no idea.
Yeah, so because what is obsessive compulsive disorder? It's chronic anxiety disorder. That's what it is in its entirety, because a lot of times people with OCD, and not OCPD, that's different. But OCD is individuals who have repeated thoughts and repetitive thoughts, behavior, and urges that cause a lot of significant distress, to where the individual feels like they have to do certain actions or engage in certain forms of avoidance in order to manage those thoughts, right? So it's important to know that OCD is broken down into obsessive and or compulsive disorder, because somebody could have the obsessions, but that doesn't necessarily mean they automatically have the compulsions. And there's so many forms of OCD, not just contamination OCD, which is the more common type of OCD, but there could be different types of OCD that are including, but not limited to, obviously. There could be checking, which is much more of like a common one, where it's like somebody will have to engage in like behaviors that might be to preventing danger or fire or leaks or harm. So they could look like like asking for reassurance at a chronic level. It could be past memories and thoughts of the past memories. It could be locking doors and windows. It could be, fire alarms and office alarms. It could be constantly checking like knobs on gas or electric stoves, checking the car, emails or letters. Oh man, there's so many. Rereading text, electrical appliances to make sure that things are plugged in or not. Checking for your valuables, like again, the difference of it being like something where you might have some tendencies that can be obsessive like versus OCD is when it takes away the ability to function.
Gotcha.
That's the difference.
Yeah, every time I walk out my house, it's like keys, wallet, phone, knife. All right. I always do like my little pat down before I close my door.
Yeah, which again, that's always important for all diagnoses, is that there's a lot of times where folks may demonstrate the different qualities, but the point of what the difference between that and a diagnosis does it take away the ability to function, right?
Not really. It's more like I don't want to accidentally lock my keys inside, and I also don't want to have to come back later to grab my wallet because that's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before. I've gone all the way to the grocery store and be like, well, I left my wallet at home because I decided to like take it out of my bag for some reason.
Right. The next one is contamination. Again, this is like the obsessive worry related to contamination of stuff to others. This is not quirky. Again, this is a serious point for many. This is not quirky. I have had clients that felt like they couldn't shake hands with people because they thought that it would kill them. So,
Oof.
yeah. So there's contamination OCD. That could include like things like public restrooms, shaking hands, door handles, eating with, not private utensils, money, clothes, dead skin, bathrooms, outside air. It could just go on and on and on. Then there's mental contamination. Again, this is where people think that that there could be things that they say like impulsively and obsessively in their head about others, and that other people could hear them. And so they get obsessive in thinking that people could hear their thoughts.
I've had that before.
Yeah.
Kind of, because I'll think something and then like someone will act a certain way. I'm like, did I say that shit out loud? It's not that I think they can read my thoughts. I'm like, did I say that shit out loud? I hope I didn't.
There's also another form of OCD, and this seems to be surprising for people, but hoarding is a form of OCD. So hoarding is like, in itself, is like the inability to discard useless or worn out possessions, because I think maybe it's its own thing, but however, it still can fall into its own thing of like OCD because again, it could be impactful to function. Like there's a whole show about it. Like
right.
That's how bad it can get for people. But like other ones are like ruminations, intrusive thoughts. There's like harm OCD, there's contamination, there's intrusive thoughts, there's freaking symmetry obsession. So the one where people are like, oh, I have to do these certain patterns and it has to look this certain way. I have to walk these many steps. Like they have to do these rituals because again, it's an anxiety disorder. So if they don't, they feel an intense feeling of fear.
Yes. I've heard stories about this one guy. I guess he went through therapy and he got over it, but he had like open and close this sliding glass door like 5 times every time he walked through it or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was weird. I forgot his whole purpose. He's like, I don't know why I did it. It's just I felt like if I didn't do it, then the world was going to come to an end.
Another one, now this one's going to be a little bit more controversial because, again, this isn't, may I always make this very clear, this doesn't take away the responsibility of individuals, but the last OCD subtype I like to kind of like give a little shock factor to people. There's it's called pedophilia OCD.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where like or like for folks that are especially prone to, like, they have stigmas, but it's for, again, it's the psychiatric impact of like the obsession of sexual attraction to prepubescent children. And this could have it where, again, in OCD, where they may have these obsessive thinking, and they may even they have compulsive behavior related to it. Mm-hmm. That does not mean that it's automatically what that is for every person that experiences or demonstrates pedophilia like behaviors, and in itself can be OCD for some folks. It's why it's really important for somebody that knows OCD and that is trained to do proper diagnosing about that one. Okay, the next, I think there's only like 3 more to go over real quick. The next is health anxiety. It means when you experience like in itself, it can look OCD, but it's separate on itself, where it's like you where it's related to like illnesses, and also like just taking care of self, so anything health related. And then the other ones that are involved are like body dysmorphic disorder, which again is when you're obsessed with your physical appearance and the physical appearance potentially of how it's perceived by other people. And the other one, again, is prenatal anxiety or prenatal OCD, which again can be impactful for the first experience or the first year after parents may have given birth. So yeah, these are forms of anxiety disorders.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say I'd have the body dysmorphia one, but I always feel like I'm not exactly where I want to be.
Like I said, and again, you could have it where you have anxiety diagnoses, an anxiety disorder, and then it just kind of like pops up in the worst game of whack-a-mole in different areas of your life. So it's important to kind of just get to the root of it. This is why I do trauma work, because I think trauma work gets more into the core of like everything. Mm-hmm. Whereas like just doing all these things individually, I feel take a lot more time and a lot more energy. And I feel like time is just a luxury people don't always have, especially when it comes to getting help.
That's why we do this.
Yeah, exactly. This is why we do this.
Yeah, time and monies.
Yeah.
People just don't have it. Time is expensive. Money is expensive.
Money is expensive.
Yes, it's the most expensive. All right. I'm trying to think of what along those anxiety lines. I don't know. See, so going into it tomorrow, I don't know. Like, what could I give that person? Because you say those things, it's like, well, maybe this is anxiety, maybe it's depression, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. It's like all these things seem like they're so tied together that they can be one of them or all of them at the same time.
Yes.
Maybe it's just gas.
I wish it was just gas. Like, hey, it's like, hey, he just needs to be burped and he's going to be totally better.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell everybody, so how was therapy? Well, I went there. It turns out I just need to be burped.
It's like, you'd be surprised.
And they patted me on the back for like 15 minutes. I gassed one out, and I'm telling you, I feel like a new man. My property value went up and everything. It's great. All I had to do was fart really bad.
like world peace was found. You'd be surprised.
Everything in the freaking with Hamas ends, the freaking Ukrainian conflict ends.
We're done.
Yep.
Everything's done.
What happened? Kilted farted. It's over now.
Yay!
It's like, thank me.
Fantastic. And engage. I think the thing is, like I was saying earlier, is that I think a lot of it all kind of can be tied in together. That's why I always think it's really important to kind of like do a lot of awareness and trailing back of like, where do you feel like this all began, you know? Because these like everything that you've heard between depression, between anxiety, these are not things in them, or like these are things that are significantly tied into trauma, right? Like there are diagnoses that are just chemicals. It just is what it is, right? And there are some diagnoses like depression and bipolar diagnoses, where that are very much like out of your control. They're all neurological, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, the severity of trauma and its impact to us as individuals can exacerbate the severity of these diagnoses and these symptoms. So even if somebody has depression, they may not have depression at its baseline. They may be having depression that is significantly impacted by trauma.
Yeah, it sounds like this is going to be... I hope this therapist is good with dealing with trauma stuff, because I'm sure there's something in there somewhere, and they're just going to have to dig for it. I'll bring them a shovel and be like, here you go.
Hit me over the head with it?
It's like, or you can just start digging. I don't care. Either way.
I really need you to take me out. Either on a date or by sniper. I'm not picky.
Yeah, I'll start playing that Franz Ferdinand song. Take me out. Bow down, 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 down.
Mm-hmm.
See how that goes. All right. Is there anything else you want to add? I'm kind of burnt out. I mean, we still got a few minutes left.
No, I'm okay for this evening. I think that pretty much captures it today.
Is there anything else you want to get off your head?
This squid. This has been quite annoying this whole time. I just had this squid. Off of my head. So there might be a likelihood, so this is kind of heads up for everybody, that I more than likely will not do Therapy Thursday on the week that I have off, because I'm going to take a break from like everything mental health, so that I can go and recharge myself, because I definitely, as I encourage you all as well, listen to your body when your body's telling you need to stop. You do not owe anyone. Oh my God, where's the mic? You do not owe anyone to continuously sacrifice pieces of yourself in order to prove something to others, because no one's going to value those pieces of you as much as you think that they will. At least that would justify the sacrifice and the feeling of that sacrifice that you have to live with. Okay? No job, no person, no family member, nobody. Like, there could be a lot of like care, and there could be a lot of appreciation. Care about the way your body's talking to you. I definitely will say it's something that is still practiced even on my end. And I know a lot of times people have a lot of shame and guilt of like listening to their body and taking care of themselves. If you haven't heard it from one person, let me be the person to say it is not wrong for you to listen to your body. What my therapist likes to call it is called healthy narcissism. And there is a such thing as healthy narcissism, because if we are taking care of ourselves and we keep burning ourselves out to the core, we're doing more damage. It's like our tires keep spinning out and spinning out, and we keep thinking we just need to add more gas and we're good to go, but we're just burning ourselves out. So let it be. Take care of yourself. Drink your water. Know that you're cared for. And that's my last sense for the night. What about you, Kilton?
I mean, that makes sense. It's, I guess we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. So that will be on February 1st.
Yeah, on February 1st.
So that's a big old maybe. So if you're watching this now or on the YouTube, then yeah, you might not see anything from February 1st. And if you are watching this on YouTube, it'd be great if you came over here to Twitch. Yeah, go to twitch.tv/kilted_pork or follow the link in the description below the video and it'll take you over to here. Give us a follow or just put it on a schedule. Come on in, bring us your problems so we can see what's going on. And you can keep listening to our problems, but I guess you can do that on YouTube.
Yeah, we do that over here anyway.
Yeah, do it over here.
Except for that one person that watches the YouTube videos for Zwift. That's different. That is the one different person.
Yeah.
But outside of that, you should be over here. Join us on here. So then you can also chat with us.
Yes.
We'd love to chat with you.
Yes. The more people that chat,
here.
the better this will get. Trust me.
Yeah, oh man, we've had some great conversations here from what people bring into the chat. So, yeah, feel free to come join us sometime.
Yes. Seems like it might have died off a bit after like the new year and before school starts up again, but I'm sure it's going to get hectic pretty soon. I mean, the week that you're taking off from this possibly is the week I start school again. Ugh.
Ooh, are you excited?
No, I'm not. I don't want to go back. It's not fun.
No,
And it's like I get, and it's just going to be a hectic weekend because I have to race on the 27th, the 28th, and then I start school on the 29th.
Jesus Christ,
That's like, fantastic.
That is so much. Like, that's honestly so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll definitely assess those times and see how to go about it once school pops up back for you, because it's going to be a doozy.
It is going to be a dookie.
You said it.
You said it. All right, well, that's it for me. I'm exhausted. I'm going to eat some food and get ready for bed because I got a long day tomorrow. Got to get up early and do the longest workout of the week and then do the therapy and then...
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so... Thanks, Chatterman. We'll talk to you later. Bye, Asteria. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks. Be good, everyone. Drink water. Take care of yourself.
Okay, you all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.